Hey everyone, and welcome back to Stamp with Anna. And today I'm going to show you some cards that we made at card class this weekend. And these were fun folds using the Dressed to Impress stamp set. Excuse me, this is a new stamp set that's in the Occasions catalog. And you can see it's just a fun set with shoes, perfume, lipstick, and some flowers. And it has these great little abstract fill-ins. And be as bold as your lipstick. Hello, fabulous. Kindness is always in style. Life is short. Buy the shoes. And a happy Mother's Day, which is great. And this card that we're going to make today is just a tiny bit different than this. I had purchased the coordinating designer series paper. And you can see the colors are just fabulous. There's the shoes that I'm using. And then the flip sides are also some great patterns. But I happened to really like these polka dots, so I used them a lot. And when it was time for class yesterday, I realized I didn't have enough. So I improvised, and the card we're going to make today is going to have a different background. But other than that, everything is the same. So what we have for supplies, what we need for supplies, I should say, is, just move this here, a piece of lovely lipstick, which is 4 by 5 1/4. Another piece of lovely lipstick, which is 2 1/4 by 11, scored at 5. A piece of Whisper White, which is 2 by 5 1/4. And then a piece of the designer series paper. I'm using the shoes, which is also 2 by 5 1/4. Then I have 2 strips of paper, and these are cut 4 by 5 1/4. And then I just have some scraps of lovely lipstick and Whisper White. So, the first thing we're going to do is, now this is one piece of cardstock. It's not like your usual, it has a fold in it, because this is going to be just the background of the card, so you can see it opens like this. Okay, so again, this is 4 by 5 1/4. Now, what we need to do is put these 2 straps here, and we're going to do that first. But before I do, I can tell you, I cut mine into strips of 1 by 5 1/4 to save some paper, because if I could have taken one sheet of paper and cut it 4 by 5 1/4, but then this side, this is going to be covered anyway. So if I use 2 strips that are cut at 1 by 5 1/4, and I can get 4 strips out of what it would only get for one panel. So if I was doing a whole panel that I was going to ultimately cover up, it would be 4 by 5 1/4. But I'm cutting mine at 1-inch strips, so I'm going to get twice as many if I just do it this way, if I save my paper that way. So it's just, if you're making a lot and you're short on paper like I was, it's a good way to let your paper go a little longer. So again, we want to put these down first, and we want to make sure that they are nice and lined up. Oh, hold on one second, let me just... Okay, my snail ran out. Okay, so what we're going to do is attach these 2 strips on either side. And when we do, I'm going to turn mine sideways so that I can see it better. When we do, I'm just going to make sure we have a nice even border, and it's about 1/8 of an inch on either side, all around, on top, bottom, and side. And now I'm going to do this one, the same thing. And I want to make sure that this piece is even with this piece. Okay, so because we want to give the illusion that it is all one piece of paper, right? No one needs to know our little tricks of saving paper. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm going to come in with my 2 1/4 by 11 scored at 5 1/2 piece, and I'm going to attach some snail to the back of that. want to make sure I get some snail right up to the top here, because I do want it to be nice and secure on my card. Okay, so now, important that this is butted up right up to this here. Obviously you want to center it left to right, but you do want it to be right up to that top there. Okay, and it's nice and straight. Okay, so there's my flap. Simple so far, right? Now I have my piece of designer series paper, which is the shoes, and I'm going to take some ribbon. This is mint macaron, because mint macaron is in these shoes, and I'm going to just tie a bow. And I want to make sure my bow is going to be horizontal. So when I bring my ribbon in, I want to make sure that my ribbon, after I make that first loop, I want to make sure my ribbon, these tail pieces are vertical. Then I'm going to make my bow. And I know I say this all the time, but my arthritis is so bad. I don't know what I'm going to do when it's going to prevent me from crafting. It's going to be a sad, sad day in my house. Okay, so now I'm just going to play with my bow so that it's nice and even. Okay. This one needs to be. Okay. And now with my fabric scissors or my ribbon scissors, I'm going to give that a little cut. And I'm going to bring this down just a tad because I don't want it up that high. And bring it down like that. Now I'm going to attach that to my card, my flap. Okay, and I'm going to put that right there. And again, I want the top of this designer series paper to line up with this one here, and the bottom to line up with that one there. Okay. Attention to details like that just make your card look so much nicer. Now my bow is a little loose here. Like I said, my fingers don't work well. So what I'm going to do is take a glue dot, and I'm just going to place that right behind the knot in my bow. Okay, I'm just trim this one just a tiny bit more so it's even. All right, so there's my flip card. Now we just have to do our stamping. So I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to bring in my piece of white that has that is 2 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to stamp on the inside, "Life is short, buy the shoes." I think I bought the stamp set just for that sentiment. So this is photopolymer, so I'm going to bring in my Pierce mat, and with lovely lipstick, I'm going to ink up my stamp, and I'm going to do it up to the top so I can write. This is a narrow space, so I do want to leave myself some room so that I can write a nice sentiment, personalize my sentiment when I give this card. Okay, life is short, buy the shoes. Now so now we're going to stamp this front piece here. And I have a piece of scrap white. It happens to be in the shape of a circle, but it's going to be cut further because I need a smaller circle. And with this, a Wish for Everything stamp set, which I absolutely love. And it does have a coordinating die set. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can just find it on my desk. I know I pulled it out. Here it is. And the die set is called Word Wishes. So between these two stamp sets and this die set, you can just make so many different sayings. So you have interior sentiments, exterior sentiments, and then if you want to die cut, you have New Year, you have birthday, you have St. Patrick's, you have Mother's Day, Father's Day, Easter. So you could stamp half of it and die cut the other half just to give it another little flair. But I do digress. That's a great investment. So here's the 2 stamp sets, and from here I took wishing you a happy birthday. And I've already mounted it onto my block, and rather than having to stamp each word and lining it up, I mounted it all at once. So I'm just going to stamp once. And again, with my lovely lipstick, I'm going to just plop that in the center. And now I'm going to die cut this. And to die cut this, I am using the Layering Circles framelit set, which has 16 circles. So you have 8 of the round and then 8 of the scallop. So what I'm going to do is take a round one, and I'm going to cut that out, and then on a piece of scrap lovely lipstick, I'm going to cut this one out. Okay, I've already done that, but I'm going to go cut this one out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back with my cut pieces. Now I'm just going to mount this onto my scalloped piece, and there's a tiny little border there, which is great because you know I love tiny borders. Okay, now I'm going to mount that onto the front of my card. And to do that, I'm going to use some dimensionals. Now, here's my poor dimensional sheet. It's empty. But look, I have all these along the sides. So I'm not wasting any of my precious dimensionals. I'm going to snip a couple pieces. And I'm going to use those on the back. This way I get a lot of coverage. My sentiment isn't going to wobble. I'm going to place that right in the center there. Now the last thing I'm going to do is add some rhinestones. And I just have them. Here they are. Now you'll see when I stamped my happy birthday, I got a little smudge there. Fear not. That's where I'm going to place one of my rhinestones. And I'm going to cover that up. Alright. And then I'll put another one. Maybe over here. And because I like things in odd numbers, because that is pleasing to the eye, I'm going to put another one there. How quick and simple was that card? And a lot of little tricks to save paper. And here we go. Oh, forgot to put that in. 1 second. Oh boy. And that's just going to drop itself right in there. And again, I'm lining up the top here with the top of my Designer Series paper so that it all flows seamlessly. And again, because it's cut the same size, it all flows down there. So there we go, nice and simple. Wishing you a happy birthday. Life is short, buy the shoes. And that'd be great if you had a little gift certificate in there so they could use, the recipient could use the gift certificate to get a pair of shoes. So that's today's project. I will have a couple more. If you have any questions at all about this project or any of the products that I used, certainly email me, contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com. And I do want to point out one thing. I have used Lovely Lipstick on my card. Lovely Lipstick is part of the 2018-2020 in colors. This will be retiring at the end of May. And if my memory serves me right, beginning of May or middle of April, I don't remember, they put out the retiring list. And obviously this will be on it. If you have this stamp pad and you don't have the re-inker, you should get that sooner rather than later, because re-inkers are the first to go when the retiring list comes out. So word of wisdom, word of caution to you, making sure that you have that and you don't neglect getting your refills. So here's our beautiful cart once again. If you have any questions, certainly contact me. Thanks so much.